Yep. Sorry guys, sorry for the issue. I have disabled the screen share for Zoom, so we had to join back for that. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the confirmation. Okay. So I'm Sandeep. I'll be starting the Cypress session with Way to Automation. Just to brief about myself, like I have 14 years of experience. I started my career as a developer, and I was interested in security, so I did some security certifications. I work on both automation and security testing. So like I have like wide range of, I worked on the wide range of automation tools, and I currently work with a startup as a lead QA. So that's brief about myself.
इकडे लीड अलर्ट आहे जिल्हा.
Guys, can you mute yourself? Okay, yeah, thanks. So, like, did anyone work in the Cypress earlier?
Hi, Sandeep. If you could mute everyone.
I need to stop sharing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, yep. So, did anyone have an experience working with Cypress?
No.
Okay. Is no from everyone?
I don't have.
Okay. Okay, maybe like I'll start with the Cypress then. So basically, like so Cypress is a node based automation testing tool. So it started with like in 2017. So does anyone have an idea like when Selenium started?
2004.
2004. Okay. Yeah, it started in the around like 2002 as a beta version, and then it came to the market as like in 2004 2005. It started with Selenium RC and then WebDriver and all. Similarly, like Cypress started around like 2017, so it has like 4 years old, 4 5 years old as of now. And but like if you see, most of the companies are like moving towards Cypress from Selenium. I'm not saying like Selenium is like downgrading or like the users are becoming low, but like Cypress, when you compare Cypress and Selenium, both have its own advantages. That way, like you can write everything from scratch in Selenium the way you want it. But like when you come to Cypress, Cypress has like most of the things handy. So for the people who wants to learn automation, who wants to start learning automation as of now, you can just go through like what are the current trend in the automation market as of now, and you can pick up the language. So Cypress is like completely JavaScript automation tool, unlike Selenium. Selenium is a Java based one. Uh, it's like we can call Cypress as an end-to-end automation tool. So you can test APIs using Cypress, and the latest version of Cypress is supporting the component testing. How many of you have like an idea of unit test, integration testing, and all? You can unmute yourself and then answer. Does anyone have an idea of like unit testing, integration
Yes.
test, component testing?
Yes. Unit testing
Yes.
is a kind of basically white box testing, we can say, and integration testing is black box testing. And basically in unit testing, we need code required. And I mean, it tests the written code, while For in integration testing, access is code is not required.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Integration testing is like we are doing API testing. I will say that is an integration testing because we are validating the results from the other application to the like from one application to another. We are testing, like validating. So we are using API for that testing. So that is sort of integration testing.
Yep, that's a part of integration testing. You're right. There are like a lot of things that we check in the integration testing. API is one part of it.
Mhm.
And
Anyone else?
with integration test, we cannot use with TDD approach also.
Okay. Yeah, okay, good. So unit testing is basically we check the lot of stuff on the white box testing. So the code coverage, like what is the code coverage and how many tests like we have written to cover the developer's code. So it's like little away from the QA. So basically like developers take care of like unit and integration testing. But like these days, people are expecting to write integration testing from QAs. So the QA role is not only like testing the application and writing the automation. It's moving towards like QA to QA coach. Like if you have like 10 plus years of experience in testing in automation, so people are expecting you to move towards the QA coach, which is like you need to coach the developers or like guide the developers writing the framework and make sure that developers are writing the integration testing and unit testing coverage is good enough. And also like you can guide the developers to write the UI testing as well. So like when the developer has to write integration testing or like UI testing, so what was stopping earlier and why people are expecting developers to write the UI testing as well? So any idea like what is the front end technologies that's being used the most?
Yeah, like nowadays, actually React and Angular is used as part of JavaScript framework.
Okay.
Actually, when coming to backend in the JavaScript framework, we have Node.js. In actually Python, we have this Django and Flask.
Okay. Yep. So what else? Can anyone else go next?
Sir, can you repeat the question, please?
Okay. So what are the front end technologies that you are aware of? Front end technologies like the web technologies that developers use the most writing the front end.
Angular,
Okay. Angular.
JavaScript,
Okay. JavaScript.
Yeah, we have
CSS,
PHP.
HTML.
Okay.
So all these are front-end languages.
Okay. So Angular. Okay. Let me write. Sublime. Front-end technologies. One is like Angular.
We have React.
No. React.
We have this PHP.
CSS.
We have this Bootstrap.
CSS, Bootstrap.
Flutter.
Can you spell it?
FLUTTER.
Okay, Flutter. Okay.
JS.
Okay.
And also Django, I think it is also used for front end.
Okay. Is it JNGO?
Yeah, DJANGO, Django.
Okay, DJANGO. Okay.
Django framework, yeah.
And jQuery is also used.
Yeah, along with JavaScript.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
can, yeah, okay, bootstrap is already added. Okay.
Okay. Okay, fine. So, like, what is the most common language across these?
HTML.
HTML. Okay. Like most of it is based on the JavaScript.
Yeah, JavaScript.
Okay. So, how many of you like worked on the Selenium earlier?
Me,
Me?
Namika.
Yes.
Yeah, I have worked on Selenium.
Okay. Like, can we brief? Do you have any issues like writing the Selenium framework? How long it takes? And do you have any issues with the Selenium? So, does anyone have any issues like working with Selenium? How long it takes to write
Yes,
a framework?
Yeah.
Yes.
especially handling timeouts
Okay.
and there
Think
there is
mostly
this
sync issues, synchronization issues. That
Link issues. Okay.
At the time of mobile testing also.
Okay. Timeouts.
Pop-up
Unlinked to,
windows.
unlinked to URL.
Sorry. Can you please repeat?
Unlinked to URLs. If you place order from one URL and you need to confirm the order on another URL.
Okay. So link to URL is it? Like going from one URL to another URL?
Yes, yes.
One URL to another URL. Okay. So these are like a few issues. And does anyone have issues with the like Selenium drivers?
yeah the usual version change issues
Okay.
that we encounter on like
No, that
monthly or
one we can actually handle using WebDriver Manager, so which will automatically download the latest Chrome or Firefox versions.
Okay.
yeah
Automatically.
but if you run specific versions on a Windows
Yeah.
machine and you try to migrate it onto a Linux machine, especially
Okay.
on
But it's
pipelines,
still like
that is a
handling the drivers is still an issue. Is
Yeah.
it? Okay. So anyone faced an issues like slowness with the Selenium? Like sometimes it will be
Yes.
slow executing.
Something while installation Maven.
Sorry?
For the Maven setup, sometimes it takes time.
Okay. Time consuming.
And like build project doesn't reflect properly sometimes.
Time consuming for setup. Okay. Build integrations.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Even resolving errors are not user friendly. Like whatever appears on a screen, that is not much user friendly. You cannot figure out like where it has actually failed.
Okay. Fine. Good. So how easy to debug like if something failed on a Selenium?
It's like we have to debug it, and we need to have like strong debugging skills. Otherwise,
Okay.
it will not be, you will not be able to clear it. Other is like setting up the entire project in Eclipse is another problem. Like unless and
Okay.
until you, yeah. So
So
it's
I have
quite.
noted down like time consuming setup. And did you ever try like recording videos of execution with Selenium? Anyone? Test executions with Selenium. So if a test is running on, maybe like how easy to like record your test video, test execution videos. Did anyone try that out?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's come to the another discussion. Like, what is the framework for you?
Basically, framework could be something like we are arranging the entire setup in a way that it is easy to access or much user friendly. Like in Selenium, we are arranging the files based on like pages. Then it is like later when you log in or any person is login, that he's able to understand. Like it follows
Okay.
a process here.
Okay. It's like organizing your test and then coding structure.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what else you expect out of the automation test framework?
I mean, framework is a generalized way of implementing a design pattern along with separate modules for utilities and all functionalities that you want to add. Since if you specifically talk about a framework, Selenium hardly contributes to 10% of the framework. The rest it is purely dependent on the programming language in which we are coding it.
Okay, maybe it's like implementing the design pattern so that like if someone else joins new, they can understand it easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically a generic approach to the entire code setup.
Model structure.
Okay, generic approach to write some tests. Okay.
And
So what else?
also it's basically a collection of tools and process working together to support any to support basically automated testing for any application. So we can say collection of tools.
Tools, okay, or modules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be able to integrate with report tools.
Yeah, good point. Reports.
So basically a framework contains, we are doing kind of automation testing like CC for Selenium. It takes care of sending emails. It takes care of logging the logs at one place, then generating reports, generating tables, and doing recording. So it's an entire setup that facilitates the automation testing of. It is not just like we are just doing test cases. It is an entire thing, and a person should get each and everything related to the test that we have performed.
Okay, yeah, good. Like the emails, logs, reports.
Yeah.
And did anyone like try an approach to like compare the previous test results with the current one?
Yes. That is also workable. Basically,
Okay,
all these are like APIs, different APIs that we combine together and try to get the entire thing related to that test. Even like recording the test cases, screenshot capture kind of thing.
Okay. Screenshots. Okay. So
Yeah,
what else
it
you generally look
basically
on it?
functions, libraries, reusable modules.
Also,
So basically, yeah, please.
Also,
You can
I guess,
also add DB utilities.
yeah,
Okay.
DBA also like if we want to for helpful for the operation team to like for the DevOps team to capture the code like in one go.
Okay.
DevOps easy, user friendly for the DevOps team. Yeah,
Basically
CI/CD.
CI/CD integrations.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Like, did anyone try the cloud integration? Browser cloud.
Integration, but that mostly happens via the CI/CD. That is the last part of the CI/CD, right? With
Okay.
the framework, I don't think we can try to achieve any part of cloud. Not sure.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
like just
you
writing some
can.
code to integrate with the browser cloud.
I mean, you can include the Docker compose YAML.
Yeah.
That's one part.
YAMLs, maybe like test data. So is it like test data or anything else for the YAML? Is it like test execution?
So if you want to run your code onto a container, we usually.
Okay. So Dockerization basically.
Yes.
Docker integrations. Okay. And test data.
Yeah, test data is one thing.
Okay, good. Yeah. So generally, like how long it takes to write a automation framework using Selenium? Because I'm just taking Selenium because it's one of the most popular tools that's been used in the market as of now. So generally, like what is the ROI of Selenium tests frameworks? So what is the maintenance? Is it like huge or is it easy? Like, so once I can write it and like I can maintain it easily.
Usually it depends on the size of the test cases and the test data.
Yeah.
Also, like it keeps on modifying. Like if we are adding more functionalities, basically the framework keeps changing.
Okay.
So it is very dynamic sort of approach. Like if we are adding more modules, then the framework automatically changes.
Okay.
Like more functionalities are included.
Okay. Changes, dynamic changes. Okay. So is anyone using the mobile and web automation tests together in Selenium or any other tools? I'm talking only about the open source, not about the paid versions.
Yes. I'm using like web testing and at the same time the mobile app testing for the same website. So the entire thing we are using in Selenium, but basically two different test frameworks we install. Like we have two different web frameworks for it, not in the same framework. We are doing the web testing also and mobile testing also. So that is two different things. So that is also quite cumbersome when you have to like make changes in both.
Okay, basically it's like different repos.
Yes, definitely. Like basically what we do is we maintain two frameworks. One is for the web testing and other is for mobile testing. So if one functionality has to be implemented in both the things, then it's kind of it becomes a job for two people.
Basically, like you cannot use the same thing in both web
Yeah,
and mobile.
no,
Ideally, both are different repos and the different set of code for
Yes,
both.
exactly. They
both
are
frameworks.
different, and the concept is same. Like everywhere, we are using the API testing only. So the
Okay.
API for web is different, and for mobile is different, of course. But suppose like we have one command of to be implemented, which is common in both. Then it is kind of a tedious job to implement both places, and then again the
Okay, got
entire
it.
integration
Like so, you
testing is
need to maintain the separate repos for both mobile and UI.
yes.
Anyone working with like web and API integrations, web and API test automation code?
Yes, you are talking about REST API.
Yeah, REST API.
Yes.
Any APIs basically, REST or
Yeah,
SOAP or GraphQL.
Postman.
Postman is just for the manual execution, and you can automate still using the Postman. I think there is something called Newman, where you can just pull up the Postman queries. I mean Postman collection, and then execute it with a command.
So with web and REST API, it is like we can maintain it in the same framework only. So that is not of issue. Like that looks more of a similar thing. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yep. So any inputs for the test automation framework, or like can we close on it?
Mostly it is just one more API integration that we are adding to the entire web testing. That is REST API. Yeah. So it is an extended form and they are easily manageable in the same test automation framework. One framework only we can manage that. It is just that related to web testing, that API testing across like across a site or what we are doing manually in Postman, if we want to achieve it through API, that we are doing through REST API. So like we are maintaining log.js or any other configuration in framework, we can maintain the REST API framework, REST API code also in the same framework. So it makes not much difference. It is
Okay,
more or
fine.
less the same. Yeah.
Yep.
Same
Have
repos
anyone
maybe.
okay. Yeah, like so it's easy to like maintain the
In same repo.
easy
Yeah.
to maintain API and web in the same repo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe like I'm just asking so many questions just to be like make it more interactive and then to introduce Cypress easily, like what values it brings up when we compare with the other automation tools. Any idea on like stubs and mocking the data?
Basically, mocking of data means like we have a test environment where we are adding up
Mocking
a
the
test data.
data during the test execution, not on the
Yeah.
test environments.
Test execution. Okay. So
Yeah,
like providing a test data set, which is similar to the already like what is the test data? We are producing a set of that is called like mocking up data.
Mocking is like
Mocking
a
is
bit yeah. Sorry, go
Basically,
ahead.
end-to-end automation testing.
without
No.
development implemented that functionality, we can mock the functionality and start our automation as per my understanding.
Yeah, exactly. You are right. So mocking is something like if it takes some time to developers to complete the feature, we can just mock the request and make sure that we can test or we can write the automation test to test the particular feature. Like say example, so the feature is to display the product details on a UI, but if the feature is not ready, if the data is coming through a request, we can just mock a request and push the data to display it in the UI while running the web automation test. So the mocking is like earlier it mostly used on the development side to write the unit tests, or like it's easy to I mean, if you are like pulling the data from the DB or somewhere else from the API, if you feel like the connecting to the DB and all very costly operations, like are time consuming. So people are like, they can mock the data so that you can just test your code in unit or integration tests. That's mostly a mocking. We can similarly, we can mock the same on the UI test as well. Selenium doesn't support mocking. I just wanted to introduce this terminology. So I just I just took that like mocking request and mocking process. Any idea on that? Did anyone like worked on the mocking?
Yeah, mocking at service level, yes.
Okay,
but
mocking
not
at service level.
UI.
Mocking at service level. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Creating a mock service is an add-on effort altogether, because you'll need to mock the data set via writing pojos and all. That's what I at least did when it comes to web automation.
Okay. Yeah, like you need to put extra effort to mock because like you need to create the data in pojos. Yeah, you are right. Okay. So finally, like how many of you hands of experience on the JavaScript? Like Cypress supports only the JavaScript or
TypeScript.
Yep, JavaScript or TypeScript.
Majorly using JavaScript executor, but those are more or less like that's an inbuilt Selenium feature.
Okay, JavaScript executor is like writing some JavaScript code.
Run,
that
yeah,
executes on the
basically
browser.
executing the JavaScripts using the JS executor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very minimalistic though.
Okay. Okay. So like how many of you like have hands-on on any automation tool? Like, is anyone from the pure manual testing that they wanted to start with automation? Or like non-testing background? Is anyone from the non-testing background here in the demo?
I'm purely from a manual testing background. Paul here.
Okay. Anyone from the non-testing background?
Yeah, me too, Pushpalata.
Okay, you're from the manual testing, is it?
I'm also from purely manual tester.
Okay, good. Yep.
Hi, this is Indu. I am also from manual testing.
Okay. Okay, good. Like, we generally feel like working on the automation is very tough, like writing some code. It takes time to learn the code and all. But like, so Selenium depends on the Java. So people say like you need to know the core Java to write the automation. But like you don't need to learn the entire core Java to start with the Selenium. So basically, if you know like how to write the Java classes, you can just start with. So you don't, you can spend time parallelly in learning the language, but you don't need to be a master on something before starting the automation. So it's like on-job learning every day. So like when I started, I was like started my career as a Java developer, and I had like some hands-on on Java. When I moved to the automation, like it was easy for me, like writing a framework and all, it's easy. But like when I shifted to Cyprus, I did not have any experience on JavaScript. Though I have some like development background, so it was easy for me to write Cypress. But like when you want to start with the Cypress, you don't need to know much about the JavaScript. If you know the basics and writing the loops and just maintaining the files, like how to write a class, and then how to write the methods, how to write the like exporting the functions. So JavaScript is mostly about the functions. So if you know like how to export the functions, that's good enough to start with Cypress. Let's start with a demo. Okay. So like when you're starting to learn automation, we get like these days, like we are getting a lot of calls on the Cypress, because like you see most of the companies are shifting towards JavaScript based automation tools. It could be Cypress or it could be like Playwright. Anyone heard about the Playwright?
Yeah, it's like a current trend in the market.
Yeah, like some Microsoft.
Another tool is that WebDriver IO, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
WebDriver IO.
Yeah, WebDriver, but it's also the Selenium based.
But it's a full JavaScript, right? And
yeah,
TypeScript.
totally JavaScript.
Yeah, it's totally TypeScript. I mean, JavaScript or a TypeScript, but it's based on the JavaScript tool. Like it's based on the JavaScript. WDIO, people call it like WebDriver IO.
Hello, Sandeep. This is Vasudeep. I have one question. Can I say that Cypress is the alternative of Selenium?
You cannot say like the tool is like alternative. So when like people are moving from like QTP to Selenium, so people are still using QTP few, but it's not like a complete replacement of the QTP. So you have like features, open source. You don't need to pay license to the tool. That was like one major when the companies consider about the automation tools. Like licensing is the most part, like people doesn't want to pay much for the license. So the open source tools are like booming up, and Selenium, you can see like people shifting towards Selenium. Cypress is like it's on the JavaScript, where like the front-end developers knows the JavaScript, and it's easier to write the automation in Cypress compared to Selenium. I don't say like it will completely replace the Selenium, but every tool has its own advantages and disadvantages.
Okay, sir.
Yep.
Sir, we can cover everything in automation by Cypress.
We cannot cover everything using the Cypress. I'll come to that when we discuss about the pros and cons.
Okay.
Okay.
will Playwright take over Cyprus? Because we are seeing some kind of momentum in this side because recruiters are calling now for Playwright. At least when I applied for a couple of jobs. So is it something in the future at some point, like Selenium to Cyprus, then Cyprus to Playwright?
Even the Playwright is booming up because like Playwright and Cypress both are on the JavaScript based, and when you like compare E to E, like both do end-to-end testings, Cypress and Playwright. It's easy to integrate with the UI builds. Like you can just add another folder in your front end, and you can start writing the Cypress or Playwright, and both supports the API. So both have like a lot of advantages when compared to Selenium. I don't say like it will be completely replacing the Cypress, but everything has its own advantages. Like Playwright is booming up a lot. I can say that. Because it's like very developer friendly. The Playwright is like very developer friendly. It's easy to write the component testings in both Cypress and Playwright.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Hi, this side Vishwajit. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, Vishwajit.
Yeah, I have a question. We can, is it possible to automate on map through
On
Cypress?
map, I don't think it's possible to automate on a map. Map, like you need different set of tools, I think.
Okay, it's not possible because in Selenium it's not possible to automate on map.
Yeah, map. I tried on the Selenium and Cypress both with the map, but it doesn't work out.
Okay, it's not possible.
Yeah, it's not possible automating the maps.
Okay, I tried test. I
Okay.
tried on test complete. It's working, but I didn't try it
Yeah,
through Cypress.
Yeah, Cypress doesn't support the map.
Okay. And one more question. We are using JS JavaScript for Cypress, but as of my knowledge, JavaScript is not a object-oriented language, correct?
Yeah, so that's why like people prefer to go with the TypeScript.
Yeah. So in your current lecture or upcoming days, we are using JavaScript or we'll use TypeScript?
We can like based on the choice, we can go with any like TypeScript or JavaScript. Did not decide anything as of now. Like if like many are interested on the TypeScript, we can go with the TypeScript.
Yeah, because of TypeScript is a object-oriented language, whereas JavaScript is not object-oriented language. So if it is not object-oriented, then we cannot inherit or some kind of oops concept we can't use in our project.
Okay, but like when you write on the Cypress, you don't use much of the inheritance and all at the framework. Like so, like Cypress comes with the ready-made frameworks.
Yeah, Mocha and Chai. Apart from that, any other?
It's assertions. Like we'll cover it in the next slide.
Sure,
what Cypress comes with.
Sandeep, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why people are migrating from Protector to Cypress?
Sir, like you're not clearly audible.
I'm saying why people are migrating from Protector to Cypress.
Why people are like migrating to Cypress?
From Protector to Cypress.
Protractor to Cypress. Okay.
Protector is, I think, deprecated from 2022 to it's deprecated.
I don't have much idea on the protractor, sir. Like maybe I can check that up.
It will deprecate from this year.
Okay, I think
there's no more support.
Yeah.
Okay, that could be the reason. So like Playwright and Cypress are like booming a lot.
Sandeep sir, I have one doubt also. I want to know that is there any completely job which is based on the Cypress?
Could you please repeat the question?
Sir, I want to know that is there any job in market which is based on fully on Cypress?
Fully on TypeScript is it?
Cypress.
Cypress.
He
Cypress.
just want to ask,
Okay,
like,
so basically, like when you apply for a automation tools, automation profiles are a job. So people expect you to migrate from tool to tool. Like, so it's not like the company is working on the Selenium. They don't like want you to write only on the Selenium. If the requirement comes on the Cypress, you should be able to quickly learn the new technology and tools and directly like jump into the Cypress. So if you have hands-on in any one automation tool, it's not that difficult to migrate to another.
Okay.
So there are like jobs based on the Cypress, but like people are expecting you to learn quickly on any tools.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my next question. So something like,
Sandeep, one thing. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Actually, as per my knowledge, JavaScript also supporting OOPS concept, not fully ops, but there is a class.
Yeah, not fully ops, not it's a single thread.
Yeah, but it's
not
supporting
it
ops.
doesn't like fully support the types basically.
Yeah,
that's
but
why like Microsoft came up with a TypeScript where they support some kind of like oops and then the types.
Yeah, but here also OOPS concept is there, right? Inheritance and class, and we can use.
Yeah, but like you don't see as much
Yes,
use in
as
the
much
Java.
like Java or Python. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yes. So we can see like the current trends. People are like JavaScript test-based tools are booming up a bit. People are like still writing on the Cypress, sorry, Selenium and a few other like Tosca, few other tools. But like when you compare the market from last 2 to 3 years, the JS-based test automation tools are becoming a bit popular. Any reasons? Can you guess like what could be the reasons?
Yes, sir. I think this is the very fast story.
Okay.
Lesser code, I guess.
Okay,
I think nowadays most of that application or UI not in HTML or CSS based. You just explained that, right? Means
Yeah, exactly.
AngularJS and Node.js. Yeah, and JavaScript is inbuilt supporting browser. Compared to other, it is more faster. Correct me if I'm
Yep.
wrong.
Okay, JS based automation tools are much faster. And like so when it comes to the agile, like most of the companies are like now their sprints and all on the agile. Like so people are following the sprints and they are expecting developers to contribute towards the automation for the faster coverage. So like fail fast. And they wanted to make sure that if something is failing in the automation, they just wanted to like quickly identify the failures and just take the necessary actions. So the fail fast approach is like becoming, I mean, it's much popular because they just wanted to know before they go to the production, they just wanted to execute all the automation suite and identify the issues. So like the only way is like you cannot only depend on the automation QA to write your automation suite because it's a lot of time consuming. So if there are like 100 test cases that need to be implemented, or like if there are like 20 test cases that are added in the current sprint, it will take some time to write the automation if there are like only 1 or 2 automation developers. If the developers can contribute to automation, that will be much faster. And that's what moving the roles from QA to QA coach in some companies. Did anyone see the role of QA coach? Have you heard about it? No. Okay. Okay. So like maybe in few startups and the smaller companies, if you have like QA with like 8 to 10 years of experience or 10 plus or 8 plus, so they are expecting to coach the developers on auto test automations. And if a developer wants to write automation code, he should not be like learning a new technology. If it's a JavaScript based automation tool, it's easier for them to like jump in and contribute. That's another reason like why JS based automation tools are booming up. So typically, like if you see Selenium, like it's mostly on the Java, JavaScript and Python, but like most of the front end is like it's based on the JavaScript as of now. So if it's a JavaScript, the developer can like quickly look into and then start writing the test automations. That's another thing like why Playwright and Cypress are becoming more popular. Just looking at the chart. Yeah, exactly. Like so, it's like if you are a 8+ years of experience or 10+ years of experience, so they're expecting to coach the devs in testing for the automation at least. So like we covered a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of points. Why Cypress? It comes with the ready-made framework. You can write UI and API in one framework, which is possible with the Selenium also. But like intercepting the requests is much easier on the Cypress. Anyone heard about the intercepting the requests?
No.
No. Okay. So like so the most these days like the front end people call a GraphQL API or a REST API to get the data. So when you like look into the network request, you can see like what APIs have been called. So if you want to intercept the request during your test execution, like automation execution, so in Selenium, like you have to use a REST Assured or some other tool. You have to integrate it with the REST Assured or any other API supporting tool if you want to intercept a API request. But like in Cypress, it's a built-in. You have a command like cy.intercept, which will intercept the API request. And when it comes to the assertions are like built-in. At Mocha or Chai is a built-in with the Cypress. And the best part is like Cypress will allow you to record your test. So when a test execution is happening, so if you are like using Cypress, it will also record end to end, from the opening the browser to the closing the browser. Every step is recorded as a video. That's one of the major advantage with the Cypress, which is not in the Playwright, which is not there in the Playwright as of now. And time travel is something like when you are executing the test in the Cypress IDE, you can see like what's happening in the each step or like each line of your code. You can just look into the step by step, and it will have the screenshots of your code execution. You can see like what exactly is loaded on the particular page or by particular line of execution. So that's a time travel in Cypress. And Cypress has a built-in dashboard, like the reports dashboard. Cypress supports the dashboard service. Up to some extent, it's free, but it's paid after that. So using the dashboard service, like you can see the previous results of your test and see like what is most failing test. And basically like this dashboard service, you can just integrate with the your CI/CD, so you can just trigger it on every commit. So you can see the commit message along with your test executions. Who develops the Cypress? Cypress is like developed by the community. I think there are like 10 developers started with it, and it's a bigger community now. It's an open source tool. Maybe I can share a link like who developed the Cypress. It's an open source tool and supported by a community. Any questions?
Sir, will you give us a demo for that? I mean, for example, any framework
Yeah,
example.
I'll give you a demo.
Okay, thanks.
So
Sandeep, always when I hear about open source tool, I mean, whichever tool it is, how do this open source community make money when it is open source, where you don't need a license?
Maybe I'll cover it in the end. Like, so people
sure.
contribute to the open source communities. As like a developers, like most of the developers will contribute to the open source community. Making money, like they raise the funds. Even I'm not really sure like how they make, how they raise the funds.
Yeah.
Is video recording is done automatically, or like we need to code it? Like it's just a configuration video recording. By default, it is enabled. Can Power Automate replace all these hard coding automation tools? Not really. Like every automation tool has its own pros and cons. So you cannot say like one tool can replace everything. So what is the Cypress? Can anyone wants to brief? What is Cypress with the discussion? Okay, the Cypress is a like next generation automation tool. If you see the definition of it, it's developed using the JavaScript. When should we go for Selenium or a Cypress? So that is completely depend on the like your requirements. So if it's only the web-based, I suggest like go with the Cypress or a Playwright or Selenium. It's completely depend on your tools and tech stacks. Sir, like Cypress and Playwright differences, I'll cover it later because that's not part of this one.
Sandeep, does Cypress replace Selenium?
No, sir. Like what I said, every tool has its own advantages and disadvantages. So it all depends on the requirement that you have for the automation. So Cypress doesn't support the mobile automation, and it doesn't support the multiple windows. That's like limitations with the Cypress. But your application doesn't need the mobile automation or like multiple windows. You can choose your tool.
Okay, so for which applications Cypress is best suited or has an advantage over Selenium?
It's a web. It supports only the web application automation.
Okay, fine. If you could cover, right? Maybe not now.
Yeah.
But what is the advantage over or with which application specifically we can
maybe
use
Cypress? I do
Angular
that.
based or React based, I think.
Yeah, any JS based application, Cypress is the best tool.
Yeah, so it React JS also.
Yes.
Any JS tools. Okay, so this is the Cyprus architecture. So when you like see this Selenium architecture, so Selenium works based on the JSON wire protocol, where like Selenium server triggers a command, and that will be like executed on the browser using the browser APIs. It has kind of a middleman. It needs a kind of a middleman, which is like the execution. So the the Java command or any other command that has to use the browser API to execute your code. But when it comes to the Cypress is like it'll sit on the browser itself. Yeah, so it's developed in the JS, and most of the browsers are like on the JS. So it will be a part of the browser, and it directly execute commands on the browser. So that's the reason, like when you see the execution with the Cypress and Selenium, Cypress is like much more faster when it compared with the Selenium. So the execution is like much faster on the Cypress.
Because of it's interacting to the browser directly. That is the reason.
It interacts browser directly. It doesn't call the browser APIs to perform any actions.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, but in the latest W3C protocol, we use Selenium 4. I still think like I'm not really sure on that one, but like it still uses the JSON wire protocol to run the commands in the browser.
Yes.
Yeah, Selenium and Cypress, like we spoke, like comparing the Selenium and Cypress. So when it comes to the pros and cons, each tool has its own pros and its cons. So when we talk about the pros of the Cypress, it's much more faster and ready-made framework, and handling the test data is much easier, and then video recording is enabled, and the time travel. Cypress dashboard service provides the comparing the records and all. But when it comes to the cons, it doesn't have the mobile support as of now, and it doesn't support the multiple windows. Like when you are running a application, it supports only the single window. Like you cannot open a new tab using Cypress and execute something else. Something like if you have to test the chart application, you cannot use Cypress for it, because you need to like Selenium. So you can just start a server with 2 or 3 nodes. You can type one in one browser and you can just verify it in the other, but that cannot happen in the Cypress. So it doesn't support the multiple windows or tabs. That's a one disadvantages with the Cypress. And it doesn't have a support for the mobile. Other than that, like it has as good as like Selenium.
And it only support to JavaScript, right?
Yeah, it has like only support to the JavaScript. It doesn't support any other languages.
Doesn't support many languages like Selenium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Selenium. And like the recent Cypress is supporting multiple browsers like Edge, Chrome, and Safari, Edge, Chrome, and Firefox. But the earlier versions of Cypress were supporting only the Chromium and Chrome.
Electron.
Electron is the default browser. Electron and Chromium. But like the latest version of Cypress, it's supporting the multiple browsers like Chrome, Safari, and Firefox, and Edge also.
Is Safari also in the current scenario?
I think it supports Safari, sir. Like, let me double check. Yep, it supports Chrome, Chromium, Edge, Firefox. The Safari is not in the list, sir. Sorry.
Yeah.
Safari is not in the list. Sir, like, can you mute? I could see some background noise. Okay, thank you. Let's start with a demo. Like if you want to start writing the Cypress scripts, you need to have a node installed. And I suggest you to use VS Code for the development environment. Like you can use any other JS supported tools, but like VS is an open source.
Sandeep, can the font size be increased?
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just pull it down. So I'll be like starting a Node.js project. npm init. I'll give the package name as like default, version, description. I don't want to give. I'll just go with the default ones. Yes. So I have like my project setup is ready. I'll just open with the like VS Code. So like the package, no, package.json is created by default, and I'll open a terminal. So like as we are using the Node.js, so the way to install the dependency is like npm install Cypress. Maybe you can stop me if you have any questions.
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
By default, Cypress supports JSON or XML for reading and writing any data. Is it possible?
It supports JSON by default.
No, I'm not sure. I'm just thinking. In Selenium,
I'm
we are
not sure
using...
about the XML part of it. If you want to use the XML, I think you need to have a XML readers in the JavaScript. But by default, it supports the fixtures, which is called the test data support in the Cypress. It's a JSON format.
Okay.
So like I could still hear some background noise. So
Yeah, I have one that related to. I have one question. Is it possible to read and write through XLS or like we are using Selenium?
It supports the like you
XLS,
need to
is it
use the node packages that supports the Excel or any other sort.
Okay. Fine.
But like I still suggest to use the JSONs because it's much more faster and easier in the Cypress. Okay, so let me open npx Cypress. Open is the command to open the Cypress. So this is the latest version of the Cypress, which is 10.3. It supports the component testing, which is in the beta version. But like we can look into the E2E, end-to-end testing using the Cypress. So it shows the configurations like cypress.config, and maybe we will come up to these files like when we are like digging deep on the Cypress. But like as of now, let's continue. So I wanted to like use the Chrome by default. So like you can use the examples, like if you just use the examples one, it'll just create a example scripts in the Cypress. So just like I'm done with the setup. So I can see a Cypress folder created here and with the E2E. So it has the examples that you can just look into and advanced examples, like it will give an example for the each and every actions. So I don't want to spend much time on here. I'm just showing the setup, like how do we do it. Let's take an example of like a website and see how can we go with it. So I'll just like I'll create a new file. So let's see a site. I would like to use a site called Sasu Demo. It has like username and password, and so it just logged into it, and let's see like so one product is displayed or not. That's what we write. So like describe Cypress demo. And this is a format like that you can write a test IT, like check login or like login test, valid user login test scenario. So cy is like the Cypress, visit, and the site that you want to open. So I'll not be taking like much time to explain on the like locators and all. cy.get is to get the locator, like as Selenium. So I'm just looking at the username.
So Sandeep, one question. Like, is there any support for this actually auto intelligence where it lists all the functions using the Cypress object? For example, CY, if I click on CY dot, then it should list all the functions. It is available.
Yes, sir. It has that.
Okay.
You need to install a plugin on the VS Code, I think.
Okay.
Maybe I did not try that out,
Okay.
but it will surely have an option. If you use any like pay tool like WebStorm, it surely has it.
Okay. Thanks, Sandeep.
But like the better way to look into is a Cypress documentation.
Yeah.
And like if you want to read about any commands, I still suggest you can go with the Cypress docs.
So Sandeep, CY is like a global object inbuilt.
Yeah, it's a global object.
Okay.
So the password is like secret sauce. cy.get the button identifier. And it has a like good support, as good as like a good support with the export also. So like my test is ready now. I can just run it. First, how to install the Cypress. Like Cypress is like installing Cypress is quite easy, sir. You can create a Node.js project using npm init. Maybe I'll share a document like how to set it up the Cypress and install it post demo. I'll just create a simple documentation to create. I think someone already shared like how to install the Cypress. I think this is a good place. So that's why I was saying like the docs.cypress is a better place to know about the Cypress. So let me reopen the. So this is my end-to-end, which is configured Chrome. So I have my one spec that need to be executed. So acts in the cross-origin frames. So it's an issue with the web security that need to be disabled. Like, so if you go to the Cypress docs, it will tell you like how to handle the web security. So you just need to add a line, disable the Chrome web security on the Cypress config.js. So I'll just add this line here. Maybe I'll cover like what is this all when we just go through the course, but like just for the time being, I'm doing that. So the relaunching is quite easier. Like you can just click on the reload. It will automatically loads the changes. Let me restart. So we have changed the config file. So it's just reopening this browser. So any questions like meanwhile it executes?
Yes, Sandeep. So that it represents, I think, a particular test case, it block.
Yes, it represents a particular test case.
Okay, and it is inside that describe block. So describe is also a representation of something.
Yeah, it's like writing a set of tests. So describe, and it follows the standard Jasmine or Mocha style of writing the tests. Mocha style of writing the tests.
Okay, and can you describe like this is just a simple demo, but what we are following, like it's a data-driven framework or something?
We follow the like kind of page objects similar to page objects. The data driven, like we can choose it, like just like I'll quit the Cypress and open it again.
So Sandeep, how will it handle the timeout issues, like how much time the browser is taking to load all the page out, like the objects?
The default timeout is like 30 seconds. So we can configure the timeouts. So I can show you, like you can like it doesn't have the concept of implicit and explicit timeouts. So we can just go to the docs. I can show you like what type of timeouts it will support. So you can configure like multiple timeouts, like one at the like locator specific and the page specific.
So are they better in Cypress than Selenium? Like Selenium, that's a major headaches, you know. Like
it's far
page
better
loads,
in the
yeah.
Cypress. It's far better in the Cypress. So maybe I can just show you the execution. So
okay.
And the other advantage with the Cypress is, like if you are changing something, you can it'll load it on the fly.
Oh,
so,
okay.
That is something called like real-time reload. So you can see the execution. So now I would like to change the login. So I'll just change it to some logged out user. So I'm changing my test data to like standard to logged out user. So I just saved it. So it will automatically start executing. So it will like Cypress, it will watch for the file changes. So again, it's a configurable option, like watching the file changes. So if you are changing anything here on your test, it will automatically load it. So you can like disable or enable based on your name. So anything, like say if I change something, the password wrong, and it will automatically, you can see like it will start executing.
Yes, Sandeep, one more question actually. So here actually you use the CSS selector, right? Suppose if you want to use XPath or a tag name, right? Like how to specify that?
Okay, I'll show you like Cypress XPath. It's a NPM package that you can use with the Cypress.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So it has a like another package that supports the XPath. So like and say like now I just logged in. I'll just change it back to the standard user script. Okay, and I just wanted to verify a product that's been displayed or not. So I just enabled like Cypress for automatic file changes. So whatever I change it will be like executing again. So let me go back to the source code demo. But like it's much more easier to integrate and Dockerize the test scripts using Cypress. I'll just look for this text. So if I want to like verify the text, so this is like the way of like verifying the text. So it's already executing. Okay, my bad. So like this one is like available. So if I just wanted to make it fail, I'll just like change the test. So the default is like 30 seconds. So the assertion is failed because that the product, whatever like I changed it, is not visible.
So Deep, I think default is 4 seconds. I can see
4
there.
seconds for like
On
verifying for
element.
element. Yeah,
Yeah.
element wait is like 4 seconds. The page load is 30 seconds. So this is like what is the time travel I said. So if I just go to this one, so when I execute the command visit, this was the page that's been loaded, and get username, and so when it is a type, so it's a type the username, and when you go to the next, so by the time the standard user is been typed, and so similarly, like this is what like called the time travel of the script. So if you want to see like what has been loaded by that time, that you can see it using the time travel. Any questions so far?
Sandeep, what is the this tool on the left side? Swag Labs left side. Yeah, this tool.
This one is like the spec files. The test files are called the spec files.
Sir, we will cover from next class everything.
Yeah, that will be covering it. Just a demo. So like I'm not covering all these, like runs and then the specs, some other settings. So it's just like
this is plugin.
I think it's a Cypress dashboard.
It's a Cypress dashboard. Like it's a Cypress IDE. Dashboard is a different one.
Sandeep, you're going to share the what is that called? The syllabus or whatever it's called.
I'll be showing that, sir. I'll be showing that.
Okay. Thanks.
Hi, Sandeep. Someone had read like Cypress is good for handling flaky test. So just wanted to know like what is mean by flaky test.
Sorry, I did not get like the last word.
Like flaky test. Someone has wrote.
Flaky test. Yeah, the
flaky
flaky test is something like if the test is randomly failing, it's easier to handle it with the Cypress, because like you will see the video of execution and why it is failing, and it's mostly sit on the browser, so the flakiness will be reduced a bit compared with the Selenium.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Let me like so if I want to run it during with the command, so I can just go to my package.json. So I can just change the command npx cypress run, and then my e2e /demo.cy.js. So it's just like running the npm run test. So the test has been passed. It has only one test, and you can see the video of the execution. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, Sandeep.
Yeah, maybe the video might not be that good because it will be very quick. So like when you're running it, so it will create a folder called like videos. You can see the video execution under the videos. So your test execution on the videos. And when it comes to the Cypress dashboard, any questions so far?
Sandeep, when the regular classes will be started, the entire like tool ID and everything will be explained, right? I mean, how
Yes.
what is installed.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a demo, so I'm just going it a bit quick on like what is the Cypress dashboard and what is the tool about. But like when we go with the regular classes, I'll be just taking one topic per day.
How much classes will take to complete this?
Sorry?
How much classes will take to complete this course?
I will try to cover it in mostly 6 weekends.
Means 1.5.
Because like if you have some experience with the Selenium, it's much more easier. And even if you don't have an experience with the Selenium, I'll be like providing some material to read out during the weekdays.
Means 12 classes is enough to complete this.
12 to like 16 are enough, sir, to cover the Cypress.
We can say 2 months. We can.
Yeah, 1.5 to 2 months.
Okay.
Is it only on Saturdays?
Saturdays and Sundays. It will be like 9:30 a.m. India timings.
Yeah.
Sir, we
How
will
many
cover
hours?
JavaScript as well, which is for that.
Sorry.
We will
It
cover
will be like for 1.5 to 2 hours. And I'll like show you. I just want everyone to create their own Git repo, and that will be easier to like track your progress. And if you have any questions, you can just share me the Git repo, so that I can just check out and fix it. And VS Code have an advantage, like you can just share your VS Code with someone else, and you can interactively code. So that's an advantage with the VS Code. So if someone has an issue, basically I can just join in on the VS Code and take your VS Code and start writing there.
Sandeep, will you share this content with us?
I'll be sharing the content. Yes.
Where?
Maybe through the email. Maybe I'll
Okay.
just coordinate with the Rahul and share the course content and a like demo of how to install the Cypress.
Okay,
and
and
then
this
write your
recording session full, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you, Sandeep.
Sir, we will cover JavaScript as well for that.
We will cover basics of the JavaScript in one session, whatever is needed for the Cypress.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll be like covering like why Cypress and the prerequisites. Basically, like I'll share a document on how to install the VS Code and set it up, and also Git. If you're not familiar with the Git, it's easy to set up the Git project. And introduction and first test, I'll try to cover it in a day. And like the Cypress test runner is like what we have seen as of now, and the documentation, and like a bit of the deep dive on the Cypress, like locators, like adding the additional packages like XPath and assertions, timeout, fixtures, mouse drag and drop, file uploads, command line execution. Command line execution is like running your test through the command line, which I have shown in the package.json. So we'll be like looking more into it. And Cypress, the dashboard, env vars, and the custom commands that you can write with the Cypress, mocking, and browser stack integration. Maybe I'll check with Rahul. If you have a license, then we can see how can we integrate with the browser stack and the CI integrations. That's what like mostly covering in the Cypress. If someone have a questions and if they want to cover which is not part of this syllabus, I'll be taking that up as well.
As Sandeep, so Cypress support the cross-browser testing?
So like as it supports the Edge, Firefox, and Chromium as of now.
Okay, so we can run the parallel test execution on different browsers at the same time?
You can run it, sir.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we will be creating a group, WhatsApp group, I think, for the Cypress, and we can discuss if you have any questions. And also you can email the way to automation. I'll answer that questions if you have any.
Okay.
BDD, I mean, we can also write the Cucumber type of test using the Cypress. As of now it's not like a part of the Cypress course. If someone really wanted it, maybe we can take up that as well. Cypress Cucumber.
Sandeep, the course will contains on the UI automation along with API automation, or just one of them?
We will not covering much as the API automation. I'll just show you like how to automate APIs using the Cypress. It's a brief about it, but like not in depth. If someone really wants the API automation, maybe I'll just show you like how to do it.
Okay, thanks, Sandeep. And at the last, do let us know what will be the fees for this course.
Maybe I'll check with Rahul on that one.
Okay, sure, Sandeep.
Yeah, maybe I'll ask Rahul to share an email with the course content and brief steps to install the Cypress and the course fees and timings. So we are planning to start it from the next Saturday, 9:30 a.m. IST.
And Sunday, what time? Same time?
And basic steps. Yeah, I do that, sir. Like I'll create a small doc on the installation. You should have the Node.js installed on your machine. If you have that Node.js, it's much easier to start with Cypress. And also, like I'll be covering the reports as well.
Sunday also the same time, Sandeep?
Yeah, Sunday is also the same time, 9:30. That's planned as of now.
Okay.
Sandeep, here a remote WebDriver concept is there, like parallel execution in Cyprus.
Remote WebDriver, I'm not really sure on that one, but like the cloud browser integration can be done. It doesn't have any like server node concept in the Cypress. So either you can do it on your machine or like you can just trigger it on the cloud.
Okay.
It doesn't have any like master slave configuration similar to the Selenium. Like you cannot register a node and then start executing on that particular machine.
Yeah, understood.
On the machine that you are writing the scripts. Yep. Any more questions?
So, Sandeep, are we going to consider any live project for this?
We can take up one live project. I can show you like I'll explain the Cypress with the free websites that are available. We can also take up a live project. I think the way to make automation has like a couple of websites that we can automate. I'll be taking that up.
Okay.
And I think recordings will be shared?
Yeah, the recordings will be shared mostly on the same day or next day.
Okay.
Okay, and so I think if you could, you just answered about the API automation, and you told that you'd be taking some brief of it. But if you could extend a little bit about API automation, that would also help.
Sir, we'll see the time and
Okay.
we can take that up in the end.
Fine. Thanks, Sandeep, for considering.
Yeah. Any more questions on the like course content on the Cypress? If you're like not familiar with any scripting or coding language, maybe we'll be sharing the like the basic JavaScript tutorials. I think you can just get it on YouTube. The basic JavaScript that are like more than enough to start with Cypress. You don't need like in-depth of JavaScript. If you have like Java knowledge also, like it's almost same as like writing the loops and other stuff. So I still feel like if someone has any experience on one development language or a scripting language, it's easy to like pick up with the Cypress. Like, so that's what I plan for the one, like the course content, and maybe I'll share out a document on like installing the VS Code and the Node.js along with writing the first script on the Cypress. Maybe I'll just share like what are the plugins that need to be added on the VS Code. Any more questions? Then
does
like,
it mean that we need to come? So you mentioned about the JavaScript basics things to learn or a kind of a glance.
Yes.
Is that something we need to do that before the next Saturday thing?
No, for the initial few classes, you don't need to be like hands-on on like JavaScript. So this will be like as good as like you are writing the test here. So like first we'll see like how to write the tests in one page. Then we can slowly convert these to like somewhat similar to the page objects or any framework. So we will like we'll go gradually, not like writing entire framework in one go and then start. So we'll see like progressively how can we develop a framework by writing the scripts. You don't really need JavaScript to like understand Cypress classes in the first view.
Hi, Sandeep.
Yeah, hi.
Is it possible to take the course in 9 a.m. instead of 9:30?
I think it's clashing with some other course. That's what Rahul informed me. So we plan to start at 9 a.m. But like there is some other course running at 9 a.m. So that's the reason like we moved it to 9:30. Anyway, we'll confirm the timings. I think it's mostly 9:30.
Sandeep, will you be covering JavaScript or no?
The basics of JavaScript
Basics?
I'll be covering. Yep.
Okay.
Whatever is like needed for the Cypress, like maybe loops and writing the functions.
So,
okay.
So is it possible that you can list down the topics that are required to be refreshed or learned from the core Java so that we can have some idea when we start this course?
Yeah, sure. Like that's what I'm saying. So for the first 2 or 3 classes, you really don't need of like JavaScript basics and all. This will be like as good as like you are writing this test as of now. Like so, CY visit, CY get, CY contains and all. So we'll be writing in a single page all the tests. Slowly we can migrate it to the framework. So when we start writing the framework, then you need JavaScript concepts. So if you know the Cypress commands, that's good enough for the first few classes. And meanwhile, I'll share like what need to be looked into in terms of the JavaScript. You don't really need like JavaScript promises and writing async and awaits. That's like not really needed in the first few classes. Any more questions? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Maybe, yeah. So if you don't have any questions, maybe we'll wind it up for the day and I'll share the documentation. Yep. Someone is suggesting to start the JavaScript from W3 schools. Yes, they can start it up. If you don't have any questions, thanks for your time. We will be starting the sessions next week.
Yeah, thanks, Sandeep.
Thank you very much, Sandeep. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sandeep. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Sandeep.
Yep.